Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Jenny, and as always, I'm here with Mark, our resident tech guru. How's it going, Mark?
Jenny, I'm doing great. I was just reading this absolutely fascinating article, and I knew we had to talk about it today.
Oh yeah. What's got you so excited this time? Don't tell me it's another one of your deep dives into the quantum mechanics of toast or something.
Laughs. No, nothing that wild today. Although, now that you mention it, no, this is about a little-known operating system that took on Microsoft back in the day. It's called Lindows.
Lindows? Is that even a real name? It sounds like a parody of Windows.
Right? I know, it's such a goofy name. But that's kind of what makes this story so great. So back in 2001, this guy Michael Robertson starts a company to build a Linux-based operating system. But, get this, he wants it to be able to run Windows applications.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. He wanted to make a Linux operating system that could run Windows programs? That sounds ambitious.
Totally ambitious. He based the whole thing on this compatibility layer called Wine. W-I-N-E.
Like the drink?
Exactly, like the drink. So Wine is basically this open source project that tries to let you run Windows stuff on other operating systems. It's kind of like, when you try to use a different charger for your phone, and it works, but it's not quite right.
Yeah, I've definitely been there with those knockoff chargers. So, Lindows tried that with Windows programs, but, I'm guessing it didn't go perfectly?
You got it. It was a bit of a mess, to be honest. But, here's the thing about Lindows. They pivoted. They realized that fighting with Wine wasn't the way to go. Instead, they focused on making Linux apps easier to use.
Oh, that's smart. So, they kind of gave up on the whole Windows thing and just embraced Linux?
Yeah, and they created this thing called Click and Run, or CNR. It was basically like an app store, but way before app stores were cool. It made it super easy to download and install Linux software.
Hold up. An easy-to-use app store for Linux in the early 2000s? That sounds revolutionary for the time.
It was. And it was all based on Debian's package management system, which, for us techies, is a big deal. It's like the gold standard of package management.
Okay, you're losing me a little with the package management talk. But I get the gist. They made Linux user-friendly. But what does any of this have to do with Microsoft?
Oh, right. The lawsuit. So Microsoft, being Microsoft, wasn't too happy about this little upstart called Lindows. They sued them, claiming the name was a trademark violation.
Seriously? Just over the name? That seems a bit much, even for Microsoft.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. Court cases in multiple countries, injunctions, the works. It was David versus Goliath, but with more lawyers.
So what happened? Did Lindows win? Did they have to change their name?
Well, they fought it for a while. They even came up with workarounds, like calling it Lindash, pronounced Lindash, in some places, and creating a website called choicepc.com.
Lin? That's amazing. They were really committed to the name, weren't they?
They were. But in the end, they had to change the name. They rebranded as Linspire in 2004.
Linspire. That's less controversial, I guess. But wait, how did they just change their name? Didn't Microsoft want them gone?
This is the cool part. Microsoft actually paid Lindows, or I guess Linspire now, $20 million to buy the Lindows trademark.
Wait, what? Microsoft paid them? I thought they were trying to shut them down.
Right? Isn't that wild? It's like they were so threatened by the name that they just threw money at the problem until it went away.
That's crazy. So what happened to Linspire after all that?
They kept going. They're still around, actually, putting out updates and everything. They even have a free version called FreeSpire.
That's incredible. They survived a legal battle with Microsoft and are still kicking. I have to say, I'm impressed.
Me too. It's a real testament to their, resilience. And the whole click and run thing, that was pretty forward thinking. I mean, even Michael Robertson, the founder, said they should have focused more on ease of use from the get-go rather than the compatibility layer.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's all about knowing your audience, right? And making tech accessible is always a good move.
Totally. It is kind of funny that Microsoft lost a bunch of those early requests for injunctions, though. A federal appeals court even declined to review the pretrial ruling against them. I bet that forced them to the negotiating table.
Yeah, it seems like that $20 million was more of a go-away payment than anything else. Wild! Well, I guess the lesson here is, don't underestimate the little guys. And maybe, just maybe, don't name your company after a cleaning product that sounds suspiciously like your competitor's product.
Laughs? Yeah, probably a good idea. But hey, it all worked out in the end. Linspire is still around, and we got a great story out of it.
True. Thanks for sharing this one, Mark. It's definitely one of the more bizarre tech stories we've covered.
Anytime, Jenny. I've got a feeling we'll be revisiting this one in the future. There are so many angles to explore, like how the open source community reacted to all this.
Oh, I bet that's a whole other can of worms. We'll have to save that for another episode. But for now, I think we've given our listeners plenty to think about.
Definitely. Until next time, everyone, stay curious.
And don't be afraid to challenge the big guys. See you next time.